So the fairies want us to know that we can clear out all of those old ancestral traumas and patterns out of our bodies, out of our DNA on a cellular level, so that we don't have to carry on all those old energies that don't serve us. I would strongly recommend that you do your own trauma work always, your own shadow work from your lifetime that you know about. As well as work with a therapist and get support from energy workers. And this would be more of an adjunct, and preferably after you've done some other work, including please take my first grounding class before you do this one, because it's really important that you're grounded to help you also release into the earth anything that you're on a cellular level or on a emotional or physical or cognitive level. Anything you're holding on to that's related to these ancestral traumas can drain through your grounding cord. So please watch that video first. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about what ancestral trauma is and how it's passed on. So there is evidence that trauma that happens to one person is then encoded in their DNA and then can be passed on in the DNA of their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. That happens because basically our bodies are meant to protect us and built that way. So when there's a trauma, our protective systems in our bodies say, oh, we got to remember this. So our brains remember it, hold on to it, and even our cells, our DNA holds on to it and then passes that information on to generations below. So it's really important to understand that that's a natural human thing that happens, that your ancestors didn't mean to give you their crap, but they did, and that it is meant to be for survival, but generally the traumas that happen to most of us nowadays are not the kind of traumas that our bodies really need to know or remember, or our children's bodies need to know or remember in a survival kind of way. There may be things that we want to honor and remember because we don't want them to happen again. That's a different topic. But in terms of our system of fight or flight, our system of physiological safety, we don't necessarily need to hold on to these ancestral traumas. So, for example, in my immediate family line, my great grandmother had 7 sisters and a little brother, and that little brother died at the age of 3 when all the sisters were playing a game and jumping over a fire, and the little boy jumped into the fire and no one was able to save him. So this really intense trauma happened to all of those sisters, as well as the mother, which is my great grandmother. And that energy of that trauma got passed down through my grandmother and my mother and to me as a mother. And there's this intense fear, which is part of being a mother anyway, protective of our children. We're responsible for their lives for a period of time, etc. But this felt like there was this extra level of intensity that I didn't realize was in that lineage until I did, and did some work with the fairies here and was able to clear that. So there are all kinds of traumas, obviously, that our ancestors have experienced, and many of those we don't know about. Some of them we do. And I had known that story in my lineage since I was a kid, I feel like, but I didn't recognize that it had this impact on my family until more recently. So there can also be things that show up when we do this work that you didn't know and you have no proof of, but you can intuitively feel and release. So ancestral trauma is basically trauma that your ancestors experienced, and the way I want to talk about it and work with it is to understand that their trauma is stored in my body. It's stored in my DNA. It's also stored in terms of patterning. So my grandmother, my great-grandmother whose brother died, was kind of afraid as a mom and probably overprotective and controlling. So she taught that with her behavior to her daughter, my grandmother, who taught that to her daughter, my mother, who taught that to me. And so there's several layers. It happens behaviorally, modeling, through learning, but it also happens genetically, actually, like that DNA imprint that gets passed down. And so the fairies have created this process for me here on my land in Colorado, where we help release those ancestral traumas and do some ancestral healing. So I don't always do this, but today I did bring some roses to offer to my ancestors and to the fairies, as well as a gratitude offering, which can never hurt. So I'm going to put some roses here as we talk a little bit. And the main thing that we're going to do is invite our ancestors to come around a specific energy or topic, and we're going to invite all of these ancestors to also have a grounding cord or ground themselves, and so that they can release what they're ready to release. And then we're going to ask them to pull out of our DNA and out of our energy field anything that they have passed down to us generation after generation. And they're going to take that energy back, and they can release it if they choose. Their healing is up to them. So they'll have a grounding cord in case they want to release it. They're also getting a healing because the generation before them is pulling their energy out. And then we're just going to ask, where did this originate? And wherever it originated, we're just going to have a sense of that. There could be, 100 ancestors sit in front of us during this process, and it doesn't matter. We don't have to count. We don't have to be aware of exactly who's who necessarily, but we're going to just ask for information about where did this trauma originate. And with that person, again, we're going to ask them to pull out what they have passed on, and then we're really going to send them tons and tons of healing love and compassion so that they are able to heal to whatever extent they'd like to heal. And then we're going to offer all of the ancestors some healing light and energy, as well as heal and replace what we released with what we want. So again, using my example of my family's trauma of losing that boy at 3, there's this fear as a parent of, something horrible is going to happen to my child. So the energy of fear of something bad's going to happen to my child is what I'm working with. So I'm inviting all of my ancestors. And even though I know exactly this lineage from this piece, I'm going to invite all of the ancestors who are willing and able to help with this and who are involved to come. So I'm going to invite my father and my mother, even though they're still in bodies, that part of their spirit come and be in a bubble in front of me and have a grounding cord so that they can pull out anything they've passed on. My mom and dad are doing what they're doing in their house. That's totally fine. Their soul level can be here with me as well. And then I'm going to invite both of their parents, both sets of their parents, and again, like a big family tree, it's just going to expand. So I'm going to invite all of these ancestors to please come, and I'm going to give them all a bubble, and I'm going to invite them all to have a grounding cord that connects their energy from wherever they are down to the center of the earth, and that grounding cord gets set on release so that they're able to release whatever they're ready to release. I'm also going to ground myself right now. Take a big breath in, hold it, see my grounding cord connecting me to the center of the earth, and then breathe out slowly and relax into that grounding cord, feeling gravity, relaxing, inviting anything that I'm ready to let go of to start to fall down into that grounding cord now. And I'm going to release whatever I'm ready to release. I'm going to offer a rose to my ancestors who are here. Thank you for being here. And with the help of the fairies on this land, who I'm also going to give a rose to, I would like to invite my ancestors to please pull back any of this energy that you have passed down through the generations of, I'm afraid something bad's going to happen to my children. Please pull that out of my body. And now my job is just to feel, observe, notice what I notice. So if you're following along and doing this with something of your own, you're going to take a topic, put some words to it, what you're ready to release. Uh-oh, dog's after something. What you're ready to release. Invite your ancestors in. Everybody gets a grounding cord. You get a grounding cord. And you ask your ancestors and the fairies that are near you who are willing to help with this work. You're going to invite them to help you and your ancestors pull the energy of that negative belief or thought or feeling or energy out of your space into back where it came from, and then everybody's invited to release what they can down their own grounding cords. So I'm just allowing this to happen. I'm allowing the process of all of my ancestors pulling out that energy out of my body, and I'm feeling a lot of it in my belly. And I'm just going to allow that to happen for a few moments, offering the fairies a rose and feeling that energy coming out. So take as long as you need doing this. You can pause the video here and come back when this feels complete. Again, the completion will just be when it feels like all of the energy that has been passed down to you through generational trauma has been taken back to the ancestors where it came from, and they're invited to release it and heal what they're ready to heal. And come back when you're ready. The next step will be to find the origin of this energy and see that ancestor specifically. Ask if there's any other ancestors who want to be seen. Sometimes ancestors will show up and have a story and want to be seen and healed specifically. If that's the case, offer them love, offer them your compassion, ask for divine source light to come and give them a healing. I'm going to energetically say hello again to my great-great-grandmother whose son was killed in that fire, and just send her my compassion, my condolences, my love, my forgiveness. Honor her pain and invite her to set herself free of the guilt and release whatever she's ready to release in this moment. That great-great-uncle, the 3-year-old who died, is also coming in, and he's choosing to give his mother some love and healing energy as well, which is really beautiful. So again, take some time and notice, again, the origin and any other ancestors who have a message or stories that want to be seen. Pause the video again if you need more time to do that. And send love to all of these ancestors. Thank them all so much for being here, for all of the beautiful things they've passed on, for the incredible wisdom that's in your blood and your bones from them. Thank them for all of those gifts. Thank them for coming and helping you release what's not serving you. And again, invite all of those ancestors one more time to release anything they're ready to release in their own healing path down into the earth. And then we're going to invite a beautiful gold sun of divine light to come down and just shine on all of the ancestors. Again, inviting them to receive as much healing light and transformation as their souls are ready to do. while we again continue to send love and compassion. And then we're gonna release all of those bubbles by just cutting all those grounding cords at the bottom of the bubbles and just sending all those bubbles back to wherever those ancestors belong in the cosmos, or my parents can go back to their house with their bodies, the rest of them. And again, thanking them. And then the final step is to fill back in my own body now that I have cleared on that genetic level, on that DNA level. I'm going to fill back in with a new story, which is the universe is a beautiful and safe place for me and my family. And so I'm going to choose to see that energy in a big, beautiful gold sun and pour the energy of the universe as a safe and wonderful place for me and my family. And I can trust that we are supported, watched over. I'm pouring that into every single cell of my body on that genetic level, into the DNA, the truth of the universe's beautiful, bountiful, amazing support into every cell in my body. I'm filling in my body with light, filling in my space around me with light, pouring some light down my grounding cord, filling my bubble around me with beautiful light and ease and trust. Thank you so much, ancestors. Thank you so much, fairies, for this beautiful practice and for helping me hold this. And oh, there goes the dog again. And I wanted to show you what I see now in front of me as the sky got darker and the moon came out. I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but it's a beautiful crescent moon. So thank you so much for being with me, and I hope that this is helpful for you and your ancestors.